Welcome to the Fabrity Talks podcast. I'm Jarosław Gancharenko, and today we are going to discuss the do's and don'ts when implementing GPT-powered chatbots. I'd like to remind you that you can listen to every episode of our podcast on every streaming platform like Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon Podcast, and even YouTube. Today I will have the pleasure to talk to Maliszewski, the co-founder of PerfectBot, a company that builds GPT-powered chatbots for e-commerce. Hi Matt, it's great to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me and allowing me to share some of our insights.
Okay Matt, tell us a little bit more about what your company PerfectBot exactly does.
At PerfectBot, we've been developing chatbots for the last 5 years. We offer chatbots for e-commerce stores, and the recent technological breakthrough, that is the rise of large language models, gave us a boost. So currently we are expanding our business globally, especially in English-speaking countries. I am PerfectBot's co-founder. I have 10 plus years of experience in the field of chatbot design and development. So during this time, I have seen a couple of technological breakthroughs in this field, where the emergence of large language models is the most recent one.
You said that you are expanding to the English-speaking markets, and how many actual implementations of your chatbot do you have?
Well, we have implemented more than 50 chatbots for e-commerces in many English-speaking markets. That includes US, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, and more. Those were e-commerces from various markets, both B2C and B2B, from toy manufacturers through beauty products to mechanical parts. So a broad range, all sorts of businesses.
Okay, so you are targeting English-speaking markets and companies of virtually all types. It is enough that they share one key characteristic: sell their products online via e-commerce stores.
That is right.
Yes? Good. So let's now dive deeper into our topic. I believe our listeners would like to know how not to fail when implementing GPT-powered chatbots in their e-commerce stores. Could you share with us the do's and the don'ts of best practices for how make your GPT-powered chatbot work?
Sure, so let's start with the don'ts. Don't assume that GPT is ready to use for your business just out of the box. The biggest problem is that it suffers from hallucinations. Hallucinations meaning it is inventing facts that are not true. And I guess that's the biggest and most obvious problem. Another problem is that it is prone to prompt injection and other malicious prompt engineering techniques that can be used to make your bot say things that you'll later regret. This means that someone can simply tell your bot to ignore the instructions you gave him or you gave it and follow the new malicious instructions provided by the, let's say, evil user. A fun example I have is that we have seen a major electronics store implement a simple GPT-powered chatbot, which was easily fooled to recommend shopping at their competitor's store.
Yeah, that's a good point. So what are the basic requisites for implementing ChatGPT-based chatbot you need to have in order to be successful?
Well, first of all, I would say human hand of management, because whenever the chatbot fails, you need to pass the conversation or escalate the conversation to a live agent. Second of all, chatbot knowledge base management, so sort of a CMS for the chatbot, as definitely you will have to manage and develop the knowledge base of your bot. And I guess conversation analytics is also a must-have, because you would like to have at least some basic insights of the statistics of all the analytics of your conversations.
So there is no magical formula that works under the hood to reply to all questions customers might have, yes?
Well, definitely not. And I guess that's another don't believe in AI magic. Simply be aware of the limitations of the current large language models technology. Because while the GPT technology can excel in some areas, it fails in other areas. So just have a realistic and pragmatic approach what your AI chatbot can do on its own, so which businesses scenarios can be automated this way, and when it should hand the conversation over to a human agent, to live agent. In particular, trying to respond to sophisticated individual or detailed product questions is still best to pass to a human.
So it is not so that the human agents will be replaced completely by chatbots.
Well, definitely the way to go is to have them cooperate. We have a few clients who resigned in the early stage of chatbot testing because while we assumed their bot was doing a reasonably good job providing accurate answers, they surprised us by saying that they were unimpressed with the conversations. So they hoped for more, but now they're also missing on the opportunity to benefit from the AI revolution.
Clearly, they had some expectations after the hype that started after the launch of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Okay, now we know what we shouldn't do when implementing GPT-powered chatbots. Maybe you could share some best practices, what we should do in order to be successful in this process.
So following what I just said, I guess the first good practice would be to set realistic expectations, to treat your... I think that's a good idea, is to treat your GPT chatbot as a new hire, like let's say a junior customer service worker who has no previous experience in your business and who will only have the knowledge you provide him. And it is safe for him only not to go beyond this knowledge. So the practice of providing your chatbot with your business specific knowledge is called grounding. So you should ground your chatbot with know-how from various sources of information to give it a good idea of what your business is about and what your clients' needs are.
Okay, so what are these sources of information when it comes to e-commerce?
In the world of e-commerce, this can mean your FAQs or Q&As, so whatever you call your frequently asked questions that you might already have listed on your website or in your store. All sorts of help articles or tutorials about your products, about your services. An archive of your chat or email conversations or your tickets, customer service tickets, all sorts of interactions with clients. So this is an absolute goldmine because these are real life conversations that happen with your clients and that should be simply included in your chatbot's knowledge base. All sorts of your policies, like a return policy, shipping policy, that also works great. And finally, training materials for your support team if you have such materials. Fun example is that in some cases we had clients who had well-managed YouTube channel with a broad video archive, and we thought like, hey, won't the video transcripts be a great source of knowledge for the chatbot? So now we use this approach whenever possible. So just video transcripts are a great source of knowledge for the chatbot.
Okay, so if we have these sources of knowledge, like, YouTube transcripts or training materials or archived conversations, could you now shed some more light on how you train your chatbots? I believe this training on company-specific data is crucial here to make the chatbot work properly.
Exactly, and I guess the first and probably biggest challenge is pre-processing this information that we gathered from all the sources I mentioned earlier.
Pre-processing, you mean?
Yeah, so just let me explain that those sources contain a lot of noise that can distract the AI and increase the probability of all sorts of errors in the so-called AI reasoning. So it is not reasonable to think that we will just provide the chatbot with a huge pile of chaotic data and achieve good results, just like we wouldn't do with that new hire I mentioned. Probably as the technology matures, it will handle such challenges better. But currently, we can increase the quality of AI reasoning and minimize the risk of all sort of hallucinations by providing the chatbot with a well-organized knowledge base. So this pre-processing would mean aggregating the knowledge, organizing it in a reasonable structure, removing all the unnecessary information, so all the noise I mentioned, and so on.
So it is not only crucial to have data, but the data that are well structured and they were with all the noise filtered out.
Precisely.
So
Yes.
so minimize the risk of hallucinations. Okay, that's a very important point to make when training your chatbot. And what to do when the chatbot cannot handle the conversation? Because you said that we should set the realistic expectations. Do not expect that GPT-powered chatbots will replace human agents. What to do in the case that the chatbot cannot handle the conversation?
Yes, so in such case, you should have a clear fallback policy. You should define clear rules when your chatbot should hand the conversation over to a human agent, to a live agent. Those rules can include answering to explicit requests from your clients who simply want to talk to an agent. This can mean detecting topics that you specifically want to be handled by agents, detecting bad sentiment when your customers are not happy with the chatbot or with the situation. This can also mean reacting to situations when the bot doesn't have the answer to the client's question in his knowledge base. We use many different approaches to human handoff policy depending on the client, and some clients are eager to have their agents join each and every conversation, even if they have nothing new to add. And some smaller businesses try to leave all the customer service in the hands of the chatbot and simply save their time.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, if I were a client or customer talking to your chatbot, I could ask to be sent to the human agent, just simply saying, please connect me with a human agent, and the chatbot will simply switch the line to the
as long
human.
as there is a live agent available, it will definitely do that. If this is happening after hours, like Sunday evening, then it will help you with another way of getting your information, your request passed to the live agent. We'll probably reply the next business day.
Which approach is more frequent? Just to have a combo like chatbot plus agent, or simply chatbot?
This is definitely the recommended way to go, to treat the bot as another support team member, not a replacement for human work, and to have this sort of a chatbot and agent combo. This is probably the most efficient customer service solution right now.
There are still companies that prefer to have only chatbot support.
There are, but I think that this has obvious benefit of that the chatbot does all the heavy lifting, but on the other hand, some customers will be left without a proper service because they, for various reasons, require the human touch on the other side.
Okay, so we are not there yet. So the technology is not mature enough so that the conversation can be handled by chatbot only.
I think it's not just a matter of the maturity of the technology, but it will never be mature enough for us to, because some clients will always prefer to talk to a human being, right? So this is just a matter of the quality of customer service we want to give to our clients.
Okay, Matt, could you share more best practices? What else should I do to have my chatbot work properly?
So never stop optimizing. Watch and learn. So monitor your chatbot's conversations and constantly improve your knowledge base. You can improve it by providing additional information, removing or improving unclear areas, making the knowledge more accessible, more accurate, and simply updating the data because your business changed, the world changed, so you have to assume that the updates from time to time are crucial. We had a few examples where a chatbot that excelled during the internal tests had a rough couple of days while talking to real-life customers. On the plus side, all it took was another couple of days of tweaks and adding more information to the knowledge base, and the efficiency in dealing with clients grew rapidly, but you have to account for those couple of days of really necessary optimization.
So actually the process of training the chatbot never ends. So it should be constantly improved and constantly...
Regardless of breakthroughs in technology, there's still way to go.
And you mentioned that you have both B2B and B2C implementations. While B2C seems to me a typical e-commerce scenario, I believe B2B is a new trend that is gaining traction now. Could you tell us more about your implementations for B2B e-commerce clients?
The online customers of B2B stores are obviously different than those of B2C stores. In case of B2B, they usually use more professional language, they have more detailed and specific questions, and also usually the value of each client of B2B is much higher. So for both reasons, we should assume that in most cases the chatbot will play a slightly smaller role in the case of typical B2C, as more conversation will require human agents support. I mean, it's a smaller role in B2B than in the case of B2C. Still, as the chatbot increases customer service availability to 24 hours a day, and that it reduces the first response time to second, it is still reasonable for B2B e-commerces to implement such solutions, but it is likely that in case of B2C, the role of the chatbot will be greater in the overall customer service.
Okay, I believe that it depends, of course, on the type of products that a B2B company is selling.
Exactly, yes. So this is also a broad range.
Okay, the more complex the product, so the role of the GPT-powered chatbot is lower, it's less important.
Yes, because, well, it's best in answering more general questions than the very detailed and individual ones.
But could you say that in some, let's say it's 5 years, the chatbots will be also able to give the detailed answers to the technical questions related to the, for example, technical P2P products, given the fact that they will have, for example, plenty of materials to be trained on them?
Yeah, I think it's really not a matter of technology as much as the difficulty in providing the chatbot with all the know-how, all the knowledge that would be required to reply to those sort of individual specific questions. So again, just like in case of this new hire, we cannot expect new hire with no previous experience to go into details of explaining this very specific details of each and every product.
Okay, I see. So once again, we should underline this: the data are crucial here. So you should have the data to train the chatbot, because technology is in place and it is all about data.
Yeah, and I think there's a popular misconception that most people think that it's all a matter of technology, while the technology is just an enabler, but still your data, the knowledge you will give the chatbot is probably the most important part.
So your potential client should have some data to be used to train the chatbot. So it cannot work out of the box without the proper company-specific data.
The more, the better, and the more sources you have, the better.
You also said that you target English-speaking countries. But what about other languages like Spanish, Chinese, or Polish, for example? Do you plan to extend the list of languages supported by your chatbots in the future?
So the GPT technology is multilingual by default. So it is quite tempting to plan to enter other markets. And we have actually already seen our English-speaking bots answer questions in other languages such as French or even Arabic. So simply the bot is able to switch to another language just like that.
It was planned, or somebody asked the question?
No, it was simply some clients started conversation and asked in other languages, and the bot, it simply works. But however, this is not just a matter of technology as much of a simple business strategy. We still believe it is necessary to be able to have a tight control over this technology. So we are going to focus on languages that our chatbot design team can understand. And I guess that's just reasonable.
Yeah, okay, good. So, but in the future, so you might expand also for other markets, because English-speaking countries are, of course.
That is also a part of this technological breakthrough, because until now, that was a challenge to build a multilingual chatbot or multilingual, any other conversational solution. So that a lot of changes is happening in this area as well.
Yeah, and that is also important for e-commerce because people prefer to make purchases in their mother tongue. So,
of course. And we also see more and more e-commerces who are also selling their products globally.
So it was having a multilingual chatbot, it would be also a good strategy to scale up the business to sell globally.
Definitely, and also seems like GPT is the way to go here.
Okay, thank you. That's important. Thank you. Okay, Matt, let's sum up our conversation. What are the main points to take care of when building GPT-powered chatbot, in your opinion?
So, first of all, have realistic expectations. Don't believe in any sort of AI magic and don't follow the hype, but realize that GPT has strong and weak points. And basically make the most of what actually is available right now. Second thing is to collect the knowledge, the data from all sources you have, and then remove the noise from this data so that you provide the chatbot with the knowledge that is really ready to use when answering your clients. Another good practice is to have a clear fallback policy. So the rules when your chatbot should escalate the conversation to your live agent, and the chatbot plus agent combo is what we believe to be the most efficient customer service solution right now. Yeah, finally, never stop optimizing. So be prepared that you have to monitor your chatbot's conversations and constantly improve, especially your knowledge base that the chatbot uses in everyday conversations.
And last but not least, the data. Without the data, you cannot train your chatbot. So prepare your data well.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. That's all we have for you today in the Fabrity Talks podcast. If you have any questions about the subjects that we cover, don't hesitate to drop us a comment or a message. If you want to know more about what we do, visit our blog at fabrity.com or check out the links in the episode description. Matt, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for joining us in our Fabrity Talks podcast.
Thank you, and thank you for having me here. Good luck to everyone with making your first steps in the world of AI chatbots.
So until the next time, bye.
Thank you, bye.